Hello everyone, my name is Awa, and today I'm going to be checking out some of the new Aztec stuff they posted. So as we all know, as a community, we've been starving for some teasers. And while they just confirmed that we're not going to get a trailer until the day of launch, they did give us some videos and some posts to feast on in the meanwhile. So I'm very excited to dig in and look at the stuff. This is a quick look since most of the information just very recently came out. So sorry if I missed a thing or two, and feel free to tell me if I did. So first up, we have the introduction video. In case if any of you guys didn't know, you can just go into the game, and for each Pantheon, there's a sort of introduction video you can click on, and it teaches you the very basics of it. So I'm assuming this video is what's going to appear once the Aztecs come out in your game. Of course, they've posted it on the YouTube channel for us to watch right now, so let's go ahead and do that. So the first thing we see in this video is it actually turns from nighttime to daytime. I'm not sure if that's just something they did for the video, or if they're going to introduce that in the DLC in some way, shape, or form. I could just be overanalyzing though. So we get a nice zoomed in look at the buildings. Of course, look very nice. I assume that one's like the generic barracks you get in the classical age, just because the barracks for all pantheons in the classical age have that shape to it. And I see, as usual, like all the other pantheons, they include foliage from their native culture as part of the building, which is nice. And it's here where we see one of the new animals. It's a turkey with a bunch of colors on it, also known as the ocellated turkey, I believe. Cool that we're getting the turkey in the game. Although I'm surprised that the normal turkey is still missing. You know how there's a turkey that appears during the November event in Age of Mythology? I wonder if they purposely excluded it and made a new turkey so that the original turkey would remain as a special event kind of deal. So they say settlers here. I assume that's going to be the villager name for the Aztecs. How each pantheon calls their villager a different thing. I assume this one's going to be the settler. So call me crazy here, but I feel like their favorite generation is a combination of the original three. So the original three are Greek, Norse, and Egypt. Greek gets favor by praying at temples, which we just saw them do. And then Egypt gets favor from building monuments, and Norse gets favor for fighting. Seems like a hybrid of those two where you get favor from building monuments near where you fight. But I could also just be wrong. So from what I understand here, that's like a temporary Son of Osiris kind of deal. Or they're going to do a kind of deal where all the classical characters. So I'm really digging the Aztec environment here. Even accounting for the warm lighting they have on screen right now, I feel like the brown reddish terrain that we get to fight on, and the unique trees we're getting in this update. Because can you really have enough green trees in this game? Okay, I'm looking at my boy, the axolotl here, and I do not remember him looking like that in the original teaser, which I will show on screen right now. Like, even though we can't see the face in the original teaser, he definitely does not have that spiky bone structure going on. So I wonder if this is an upgrade or did they change it since then. And then that's it. That's the closest thing we're going to get to a trailer until the day of launch, which I personally am fine with that because this video was enough to satiate my appetite. I know, however, many of you in the community are starving still. I see the posts on the subreddit, the Age of Empires forum, asking for more previews. I don't blame you guys at all because they have been a little quiet. But if you want to take a positive spin out of this, at least we'll be even more surprised when the DLC actually comes out. All right, and while it doesn't say it on YouTube, on the Instagram, it does say that the trailer will only be available at launch. Don't worry, there's more content that they've shown off. Most of it has been in the past 48 hours, and it seems like they've begun to be very active on the promotion. So we can expect to see another mini teaser video on Friday and then Monday. I don't know if they're going to post on the weekend, but let me pull out the video showing off the powers. So the first video we got here, we got this power of a monster coming out, and it kind of eats units. And from other sources, we know that this power is called Earth Monster. It's a heroic age power, which is age 3, and can be used if you choose to worship Coatlicue. And yeah, it basically just comes out the ground and eats a handful of units. If I had to guess, based on the fact that in the trailer they're only using it on cheaper units, I would have to assume this power is going to be similar to Aphrodite's Curse, where it can get rid of weaker units in an area but doesn't affect things such as heroes. This next power, we don't know who you worship for it and what age it is, but if I had to guess, but it seems similar to Ice Storm in the sense that it rains down in an area and there's a visual indicator as to what that area is, but it has the added effect of summoning these star demons right there in the battlefield, and they'll be great against human soldiers. You also get footage of these funny little totem guys shooting the enemy, the pet Sobex, and how they shoot enemies. This seems to be a shorter range version of that will probably cost less and be much more affordable. So I am kind of concerned that between this, the rabbit reveal, and the scorpions, that the Aztecs have a lot of units that are on the smaller side and they're going to be hard to click on. And then I noticed in just about all these trailers, they're fighting the Norse and the Japanese. I wonder if that's hinting towards anything because the campaign description does mention that you jump across continents. However, in a later post, it would specify Europe specifically, so maybe I'm just looking too deep into the promotional material, and who they're fighting doesn't matter at all. And then just yesterday, we got 3 screens. I'm going to take a quick look at them real quick. This looks like another angle of that previous screenshot we got, where it's showing a city from the ocean side. Now it looks like we're looking to the ocean from the city. The new knowledge we learned, we know that these heroes are warrior priests, and they're being inhabited by your archaic age characters. All the architecture looks cool, and we can see a cool tile terrain underneath the ground. It looks like the already existing city tile terrain, but painted a little darker brown, or maybe that's just the lighting. And all of the architecture looks the same except for these areas in the back. I wonder why that's the case. Does the drop site just look a little different? If that even is a drop site, which I assume it is because I see a villager farming next to it. We get to see a handful of the units available in the Aztec Pantheon. A lot of these soldiers have super cool designs, but for some reason I'm focused on these alpacas in the back here. I'm curious what's going on here. I wonder if this is just decoration for the screenshot and they have them strategically placed there for visuals, or is this an alpaca farm of sorts and we're gonna get some sort of renewable hunt mechanism with the Aztecs. Then we move on to this screenshot where this guy is playing with the Aztecs and he's aging up to the heroic age and he's looking at his options. So we have the first Aztec character ever teased. It's Papa Lo from all those months ago. Then we have Coatlicue, which is the person I previously mentioned of having the Earth Monster ability. Looking at their focuses, it seems like it's Papa Lo focuses on favor generation since Tenali is what they call their favor. I'm not sure Noble Hut's gonna be one that generic military building we saw earlier. Then we have the Mother of the Earth who focuses on building and siege, which didn't even make sense as to why the Armadillo would be their myth unit, since the Armadillo has already been confirmed in an Instagram post from the Age of Mythology team that its purpose is going to be a siege unit. I think it's actually the first unit to be revealed through the Instagram. And then I'm looking in the background here, and this is surprisingly not an Aztec map. I noticed for this expansion, they still haven't announced how many skirmish maps that are going to be added. With the other expansions, it was very clear early on that we were going to get 9 and 6 skirmish maps, respectively. But this one, we still haven't seen any new skirmish maps. Specifically, I'm pretty sure the skirmish map they're using in the background right now is Land Unknown. Land Unknown kind of procedurally generates in certain ways. I recognize this as one of them. And another telltale sign of this not being one of the new Aztec maps is the dirt ground. If you guys recall, I remember all the terrain assets in the game as a map maker. So if the dirt is looking a little too yellow or the grass is a little too green, I know what kind of dirt it is. And I recognize the grass and dirt in this background as Greek grass and dirt, because it's a modest green with a yellow dirt undertone. And the forest mix is a pine mix, which you usually see in either Norse biomes or Greek biomes. Because we just saw the introduction video of the actual Aztec grass, not only does that shade of green look different, but the dirt on those maps are also a very brown and reddish kind of color. But I could be wrong, I might be the lighting messing me up. Versus in all the Aztec trailers so far showing actual Aztec environment, it uses the new trees, which we don't have names for yet, but I don't think I've seen a pine be used in the Aztec environment so far. So it seems they're a little shy on showing us some of the new Aztec maps. And then on this next screenshot, which I assume is a different city from the previous one because the tiling is different, you can see that the ground now is using road ground instead of tile ground that we saw in the first screenshot. And the Jaguar riders here actually have upgrades. So this seems like a different location entirely. And we get our first look at the Titan. I believe this Titan's Seapactli. It's part crocodile, toad, and fish, and it's described as having mouths on each joint. And we can zoom in, we can see that it does in fact have a mouth on its kneecaps. So it seems like it matches the description. I think this dude looks awesome. Although since they were breaking the trend of having all of their Titans be bipedal, I was kind of hoping they would make a four-legged depiction for the Aztec Titan. But I'm not really too sad over it. I think this looks awesome either way. But yeah, the Age of Mythology fans have finally been fed after what has felt like months of silence. We had to wait until like 5 days before the DLC came out to get news on it. But I'm definitely very excited to try it out. And I will definitely be playing this day one, maybe doing some goofy stuff on it. If you're wanting even more news about it, their Instagram makes a post about an Aztec unit each 2 or 3 days. I'll be showing them on screen, but we started with the armadillo looking thing. Then we moved on to the Jaguar Rider. Then we moved on to the Soul Guide, followed by the Eagle Warrior, followed by the rabbits, which derive from the tale of the 400 rabbits. I think I previously discussed that. And then finally, we have the Ocelot Warrior, which is the most recent unit they revealed before they started showing off the few short videos in the introduction within the past 48 hours. Exciting stuff. I look forward to Tuesday for sure. I will be there on launch day playing versus co-op against AI with my friends. If you see our lobby, feel free to join us. I didn't reveal all the units today since I would probably be wrong about half of them. Sure, their pronunciation, and I know that the subreddit already has people picking it apart that probably know way more than I do about the Aztec Warriors. Sorry for glossing over that. I would rather keep my breath on some things instead of having an entire video be possibly misinformation. But thank you for watching. I'm going to cut the video here because I don't want my computer to explode while rendering this video. Gotta keep them short, and have a great day. Hey, this is me from the future. Right as I was editing the video, they revealed the Aztec achievements. There's like 12 of them, and I'll be showing them on screen right now. And you look on the subreddit, you can see that I'm actually the first person to post them. So exciting stuff. I'm really bad at cropping, so I didn't fit all the achievements into one picture. But I'm going to go ahead and run through these achievements for you guys, and then I'll show you the second image containing the rest of the achievements. So migration is pretty straightforward. It's the first mission. I assume return to center is going to be one of those side objectives in the mission that you don't have to do, but if you do it, you get an achievement. Same thing with Hades Ruin. I think this is the first difficulty-related achievement we have, but thankfully it's only going to be hard, so it's going to be very easy still. But yeah, the campaign did say we were going to go to Greece, so it makes sense that they would go through the underworld, which is where Hades would be, and that's why the achievement is tied to him. I hope to see Ajax and the Dwarves again. Feast Denied is going to be related to the Titan, I believe, because you guys recall that's the name of the Titan, and it seems like he's going to appear in Mission 3. Maybe it's going to be like the final mission in the Japanese campaign where you have to stop the Yamata no Orochi from reaching all the villages in the timer. There's also a New Atlantis campaign with Ymir doing that. Then Smoke and Mirrors is pretty straightforward, just finished the campaign. Divine Nourishment has to do with the settlers we saw in the beginning of the video, where you send them to the temple to pray, kind of like the Greeks, and we saw them glow very briefly before it cut off. I assume they want us to glow 260 or so settlers. Now, I don't know what happens to them when they glow. They might get sacrificed, but that hasn't been confirmed yet. Then the traps was also shown off in the introduction video, so that's pretty straightforward. Just gotta have a bunch of people run to traps. Training warrior priest was also shown off in the video. You just gotta train a bunch of those, kind of like Hearst or Priest. Then we have the Eaton Alive power, which is the one we saw the video teaser for. That was confirmed to be a heroic age power, and you get by worshipping the Earth Mother. And then Surprise, I'm not too sure about that one. It might just be the units have a mechanic similar to the Shinobi, where they go invisible, so you would just need to invisible attack 52 people with those units. Or it might be a power similar to the Chinese power that makes your units completely invisible. Not sure, we'll see, but it doesn't look too hard either way. None of these achievements look too hard, honestly. It looks like the level 99 Gauntlet achievement will remain the hardest achievement, which thank goodness we don't need any more of those. Godspeed looks like power that makes your units faster. So it's like Bronze, where you select area, and it affects that area by, instead of giving extra defense in this case, it'll give extra speed for a limited time. Or it could be like flaming/electric weapons, where it affects all your troops on the map. We'll have to see about that. Dreamweaver just seems like another power about casting it on units. 100 force does seem like a lot though, so you might have to cast it several times across several matches. And then finally, the last one is you're going to need to unleash the Titan and kill 400 enemy units with it. That's going to be fun. Who doesn't love unleashing the Titan onto the enemies? But yeah, that's all the achievements. Really excited to play all of them in the upcoming days and get all of them since, as we all know, I maintain 100% achievements in the game until the next update. The achievements and any other relevant thing that I mentioned in this video will be linked in the description below for you to click on, so you guys can find the original sources and make sure that I'm not making this all up. And if you guys have any questions about why the achievements require specific numbers, it's related to the Aztec mythology. So I'm pretty sure the smaller numbers are related to the calendar, and then specifically 400 is related to the Tales of the 400 blank. So like previously I talked about in a different video, I talked about the Tale of the 400 rabbits. They don't literally mean 400 rabbits, it's just the number 400 represents uncountable in that culture, as far as I know. But that's about it for today. I want to jam pack this into one video instead of making separate ones, so sorry if this second part just came out of nowhere. But thank you for watching and have a great day.